Ryan Harris, SnoWest Magazine. This is the SnoWest Show. Got Jay Mentaberry here, world-class RMSHA hill climb athlete, Ski-Doo ambassador, and all-around funny guy. I mean, last time I asked you to just stand there and look natural, it was the most bizarre pose I've ever seen. But
yeah, you can't ask me to be natural because then I'll do the opposite.
Expert 165 Turbo R and Freeride 154 Turbo R. Jay and I spent last week a couple days riding these, and they're pretty different than the Gen 4, right? Like,
yeah,
would you agree?
They are, for sure. And it takes riding it and sitting on it, looking it over to really appreciate the changes. I know a lot of people have been turned off by the looks just on, you know, the reveal and pictures online, but once you see this thing in person and stand on it, it's shrunk by so much, and that gives you like a confidence subconsciously that you're like, okay, I can go in tighter places, steeper places, because it feels more in tune with the body. And
yeah, so so this still has the 34-inch front end that was introduced last year.
right.
But now has the narrower bodywork, which is 3 inches narrower.
Yeah.
You made an interesting comment last week while we were riding that the 36 front end has kind of a distinct side heeling feel and the T-Motion.
Yeah.
And then this narrower 34-inch front end with the T-Motion XT, which doesn't flex.
No, it's rigid, 100%.
So they have a different side heel feel, right?
Yeah. So with the XT and the non-flex edge track, the full rod track, it does hold a line 100%. Like you will not wash out, but it's a little less playful in other areas. So the Freeride still has the T-Motion, and just with the narrow panels and running boards itself allows it to hold a side hill really, really well. But it's kind of a trade-off between playfulness in all aspects versus dead straight on a side hill with the Expert.
So what does the Freeride do differently than the Expert? Is it kind of a trajectory across the hill? Like, does your track tend to be lower than the front end? Or you got the wider front end?
A little bit, but now that we aren't pushing away from the hill with the side panel and the running board, it allows you to side hill better. But you're still gonna have a little bit of lower end. The rear end will be a little bit lower than the front. Doesn't mean you're gonna wash out, but it just takes a little bit more throttle control and anticipation through the side hill. But it still gets it done. Like I said, without the panel pushing away from the snow, you're going to be able to do things on the G5 that you could not on the G4. And that was my first experience when I rode the thing, regardless of T-Motion or Flex Edge. The narrowness of the sled makes a huge difference.
So can you, I don't know, this sled right here is 10 pounds lighter than it was last year, the 165 Summit Expert. The Freeride is probably didn't get quite as much of a weight reduction, but like the Summit Edge got a big weight reduction.
Like 16 pounds.
So can you feel the weight difference?
You can, for sure. And I was appalled because they said 10 on the Freeride or the Expert, but the ride weight feels like 20 or 30. And I don't know exactly why that is. I don't want to get into technicalities and like numbers, but the ride weight, what you feel, it feels a lot lighter than those numbers. So that's another thing that is super impressive once you ride it and get on it. So it was a huge cherry on top of everything to actually feel that instead of just looking at a spec sheet.
So a lot of that, I mean, some of that's got to be just the narrower chassis, right? It's easier to flip around.
It is.
It's like side to side.
It is, and whether it's subconscious or actually from the product itself, your experience is better because it feels lighter.
So for someone slow and dumb like me, being able to see my spindles and my ski tips more makes a big difference, like gives me more confidence. But for somebody fast like you, does that come into play?
Oh, times 10. Like when I can see the spindles and the skis, and when I look over the sled and I don't see something big and wide, I automatically go, all right, this thing is right underneath me, and wherever I look, it's gonna go, and that's what it does. There are huge changes, huge gains from everything, but my biggest takeaway is the narrowness of the boards and the panels. That's huge.